Professor Baring, obviously the situation is unfolding as we speak. The order has been given by Prime Minister Netanyahu. How can you enlighten us as to what's taking place and perhaps your opinion as to why?
I think you would better ask Prime Minister Netanyahu, actually, because he seems to be the one giving the orders.
Right.
And my view from the start was that this was, if a ceasefire at all, was extremely frail, given that there seemed to be a complete misunderstanding between President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu as to what was involved. And of course, another very important factor was what the various Arab states thought of what was going on. I mean, what we understand now is that the latest round of bombing is because a body returned by Hamas turns out not to be the body of one of the Israeli victims, although it's been a joint effort of Hamas and the Red Cross to try and find the bodies, of course, and one knows how difficult it is to find them. But there we go. And I think I should mention at this point very briefly that, of course, there was the vote in the Knesset very recently on annexation of the West Bank, and Netanyahu and Likud abstained. And my personal point of view is that the West Bank has effectively already been annexed, so the point is perhaps moot. But in any case, when we say dynamic, I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow.
Well, in terms of what's happening as we speak, the bombing is taking place. A lot of people have died and are dying. Who would you say is responsible? Has there been a breach of the ceasefire prior to today? If so, who by?
So I would say that, as on previous occasions over the years, initially it was the closure of the Rafah crossing, I would say, and restriction of aid coming in, both of which completely contravened what was thought to have been agreed by way of a ceasefire. So I think that perhaps the blame is on both sides, but I would say heavy blame attaches to Netanyahu and his government.
And before I go on to Colonel Hirsch, the relationship between Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump, some people say that it's not quite as rosy as some people suggest it is. What is your take on that particular relationship?
I think one cannot predict what Trump is going to say or do from one day to the next, as we know in relation to Ukraine as well. And so I think Prime Minister Netanyahu, who's been around for a long time, by the way, and has a lot of experience, I think that Netanyahu will always try and get the advantage. And I think Trump is someone with whom it is not too difficult to get the advantage, at least on a very temporary basis. But who knows what Trump will decide to do tomorrow?